This is Fieldsports Channel News. The Great Britain shooting team for the Olympics in France has been announced. Amber Rutter will shoot skeet in Paris just a couple of months after giving birth to her son. The former World Cup gold medalist is joined in the team by trap shooters Matt Coward-Holly and Nathan Hales. European silver medalist Lucy Hall will shoot women's trap in France. In the air rifle section, Michael Beckham and Shona McIntosh will represent Team GB's medal hopes. The team hopes there will be more support on the ground this time after competing under COVID restrictions in Tokyo in 2020.
I think for me the difference between this one and the last one is going to be actually having people there. I think the atmosphere is going to be a completely different beast to try and deal with, so it's going to be like having the first games all over again but with a bit more experience behind me, so no, I'm looking forward to it.
The Scottish Government says it wants grouse moor licensing underway before the start of the season, which is just over a month away. But it still hasn't got the licensing website ready. Nature Scott says the applications will provisionally open on the 15th of July 2024, less than a month before the start of the grouse season. Basque is urging members who need to apply to be ready and has voiced fears that Nature Scott is running down the clock. It warns that there remain concerns about processing applications. The Scottish Government is risking jobs, livelihoods and the rural economy with its failure to put in place the system it brought in with its Wildlife Management and Muirburn Act earlier in the year. It's not able to publish its statutory code of practice for grouse moor management until the 12th of July, and it has bumped its sanctions against Muirburn until 2025. The expected trail hunting ban that commentators expect will come in with the new government may not be as close as people think. That's the view of former MP Neil Parish, who is convinced Labour will win the election. He says that Sir Keir Starmer will have to play a clever game to help keep the left of the party happy when it comes to legislation over trail hunting.
Remember that Tony Blair had 700 hours debating hunting and about 30 hours as to whether we went to war with Iraq. So that is what I think Keir Starmer will do, and I think it will take time, and I just fear that we will have a lot of people interfering with what's happening with the trail hunting, following it all, getting evidence and debating it in Parliament.
The Countryside Alliance has urged any new government to overhaul firearms licensing before imposing a tax on gun owners. A report in this week's Daily Telegraph hints that the new Labour government plans to increase the cost of licence applications. In its manifesto, the party dropped its public safety responsibility and says it expects to raise £20 million per year by making the firearms licensing process cost neutral, with the proceeds funnelled into crime prevention schemes. The Tories claim that the change will cost gun owners hundreds of pounds in additional fees. The article says the fee for a renewal due every 5 years could rise from £50 to £400.
What we're saying is that if you're going to increase the cost of firearms licensing, you have to do that after you've reformed the system. We'll pay for a proper, efficient system. And if that's not the case, then what will happen is that firearms licenses will become extraordinarily expensive, exclude many people from shooting, and reduce the number of gun owners, which in turn will increase further the cost of licensing. If Labour thinks that this is a simple pot that it can go into and pull out cash to pay for other things, it's very wrong, and it needs to be very careful about its approach.
Meanwhile, Basque has raised concern about the number of people applying for shotgun and firearm certificates. New government figures reveal that in the 12 months to the end of March 2024, the number dropped by 1% to just over 500,000. Around 5% of the certificates went to new applicants, showing strong underlying demand for guns in the UK. Meanwhile, police revoked 500 firearm certificates and 1,500 shotgun certificates, with revocations up by 30%. Basque believes several factors are to blame, including delays in processing applications by UK police forces. Martin Parker, Basque's head of firearms, says there are still up to a dozen forces who are taking more than a year to process new applications and renewals.
If you don't get new people into the sport, how does your sport continue? And you know, I think we need to remember that the recent publication, Value of Shooting, this is something which brings 3.3 billion into the economy. And it's not just obviously the people in shooting, but when you delay new people coming in, if people are waiting a long time, to actually get their certificates. There is a knock-on effect to the businesses that are affected, particularly in the gun trade and things like that.
Former Manchester United and England footballer David Beckham is in the centre of a salmon fishing row in Norway. These wobbly pictures from social media appear to show Beckham fishing for salmon in the River Lardal. It's one of 33 rivers where salmon angling has been banned by the Norwegian government to protect dwindling fish stocks. Norwegian media reports say Beckham wasn't fishing illegally, as he'd been granted a special dispensation by the local governor. Hunters in New Zealand have killed 340 feral cats in an annual cull in order to help protect wildlife. Wild cats like these were added to the roster of target species in a North Canterbury hunting event last year. Those who've encountered them describe the cats as being like the devil on meth when cornered. The event is designed to raise funds and awareness about the threat posed to some of New Zealand's indigenous wildlife. The total number of cats shot in the competition exceeded last year's total by 100. There are believed to be 2.5 million feral cats living in New Zealand's South Island. The wild cat population originated from escaped or dumped domestic cats. New Zealand is estimated to have the largest population of domestic cats per capita in the world. Thanks to Nigel Gavin for the story. The Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust is running a summer campaign of clay shooting and other fundraising events. The GWCT has been at the forefront of conservation work linked to shooting for the past 90 years. Among fundraisers is Blazing Barrels Clay Shoot at Launceston in Cornwall raised more than £3,000. The money will be used to help promote GWCT initiatives and fund scientific research. Ely Hawk and Warrington Park Equestrian sponsored the event. You can see more about the GWCT fundraising events by clicking the link below.
It's mainly a fundraising event, but it's also a chance for us to get our message in front of a new audience. Raise a bit of money. We've raised about £3,000 from that, but we also have material around because one of our challenges is the number of people who don't seem to have heard of GWCT. So always keen to get in front of new people.
If people aren't having fun doing it, they're not going to do it. So at the end of the day, it is about money, but there's got to be community as well, otherwise money wouldn't be coming in.
And finally, scientists in Russia are examining the carcass of an ancient wolf to see how it lived and survived 44,000 years ago. The body of the animal was found in permafrost in northern Russia. It's well preserved enough by the ice to allow experts and the Northeastern Federal University to examine internal organs and determine it was a male. They may be able to find out what the wolf ate and determine other lifestyle traits. From one old and slightly dishevelled creature to another, you are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.